Hey Absol-lites! So, I've been watching a lot of the YouTube channel Overly Sarcastic Productions lately, and I thought their summary style of video looked like a lot of fun, so here we go. But this style that I do all this stuff in wouldn't really work, so... that's better. Now! Pokémon Red and Blue versions, the first Pokémon games to come out in the West, highest selling Pokémon games of all time, 7th highest selling video games of all time, you get it. Famous for having the best story of any Pokémon game, and not trying to go all pocket monsters battle to save the world, like the more recent games have been doing. But is the story actually any good? Well, that's what we, in this video, will look at. Our strapping young protagonist, the 10-year-old Red, wakes up, leaves without saying bye to his mom, and heads out to walk into the tall grass. Then, we meet a new character, Professor Oak, who tells Red to not go into the tall grass and brings him into his lab. "Gramps, I'm impatient. Give me a Pokémon," says Blue, Oak's grandson, who's been Red's rival since they were kids. "Patience is a virtue, Blue. I don't care about you, so we're gonna start by giving Red a Pokémon." Red picks the Pokemon Bulbasaur, Blue picks Charmander, and then of course he and Blue have a battle. Moving on, Red gets into Viridian City and gets a package for Professor Oak, so he brings it back to him. Oak opens the package and sees that it's a Pokeball he ordered, so he gives 5 to Red and 5 to Blue, and tells them to go out and work on adventuring and explore the world to see all the Pokemon in it, as he never could. Let me repeat that. This Pokemon professor, whose job it is to know a lot about Pokemon, never caught the 149, since Oak didn't know about Mew and Mewtwo, Pokemon from Kanto, and yet claims to be an expert on the topic. Red goes to Pewter City, after spending a while in Viridian Forest. Red challenges Brock, the rock gym leader. Moving on. Red challenges Misty next, and yet again, completely decimates her. Red goes up north to Nugget Bridge, until at the end of it, someone stops him and asks Red if he wants to join Team Rocket. When Red refuses, the Rocket Grunt challenges him to a battle. It is not very important. Red meets a guy named Bill, who seems to be a Pokemon, and Red needs to send him through a teleporter to change him back. He does so, and as thanks, Bill gives him a ticket for a ship known as the SS Anne. When our intrepid hero gets to Vermilion City, he goes on board the SS Anne and uses the ticket Bill gave him, and Blue battles him again. Moving on. Red meets the captain, who's feeling horribly seasick, so Red gives him a back rub. Okay then. And in thanks, the captain gives him the HM for cut. After the ship leaves port, Red challenges Lieutenant Surge, and he is shockingly easy. Oh, hey, funny note about this battle. I'm writing this in the order you're supposed to do the battles, but you really can pretty much do them in whatever order you want from here on out. And when I was playing the game for this video, I accidentally skipped Surge, so I later realized, oh crap, I forgot to battle Lieutenant Surge. Just thought that was funny. After working his way through Rock Tunnel, our intrepid adventurer finds himself in my least favorite place in all of Pokemon, Lavender Town. He goes into the Pokemon Tower there, but when he sees that all the Pokemon are ghosts that can't be ID'd, he skedaddles. Next battles Erica, the Grass Gym leader. Nothing to see here. After beating Erica, Red goes into the Rocket Game Corner. Rocket. The Rocket Game Corner. Come on, Red! He realizes that it's the entrance to Team Rocket's secret lair, as should be obvious by the name, and he battles through until finally getting to their leader, Giovanni. He is not much of a threat, though, and our man easily deals with him. After being beaten, Giovanni drops his self-scope, letting Red see the ghosts in the Pokemon Tower. He heads up there, and after battling his way through the tower, sees that a ghost blocking the way is the spirit of Marowak, the dead mother of a Cubone. Now, I just want to point something out to you. If you did not intentionally look around and talk to NPCs, you would have no idea that this Cubone even exists. I'll go into this in more detail later, but this is actually one of the Kanto game's biggest flaws, the fact that there are large plot details that you would only know if you went out of your way to talk to people. Anyway, After Red makes the Marowak faint, causing the spirit to be calmed and go to the afterlife, he heads up and battles a bunch of rocket grunts to save Mr. Fuji, another character you wouldn't know about unless you went out of your way to talk to people. Anyway, Red does save him, but he says that he came of his own free will, trying to calm the spirit of Marowak, but he feels that it's already departed. No crap, Sherlock! I saw it do that with my own eyes! Mr. Fuji takes Red to his house and gives him an item called the Poké-flute, which he says can be used to wake up a sleeping Pokémon, so he can awaken sleeping Pokémon that are being obstacles. Hey, listen up, kids. This is what we in the storytelling biz call super obvious foreshadowing. Red goes west of Celadon City and uses the Poké-flute to awaken a sleeping Snorlax that's blocking the path. He presumably catches it, and he heads down Cycling Road to Future City. When he gets there, he battles Koga. Nothing to say here. Red flies to the Celadon department store, buys a fresh water, and uses it to bribe some road guards into letting him into Saffron City. I'm serious. The road is closed, but Red bribes the guards into letting him in anyway. I am not sure that's legal. After battling through Silphco and trouncing one of the toughest battles with Blue he ever has, Red battles Giovanni yet again. Nothing going on here. After doing that, the president of the Silphco gives Red a Master Ball as thanks for saving him. Red spends eons trying at the most annoying gym puzzle in all of Kanto, and eventually battles Sabrina. Moving on. Red surfs over to Cinnabar Island, and upon seeing that the door to the gym is locked, he heads into the coolest place in all of Pokemon, the Pokémon Mansion. I love the Pokémon Mansion. It has some of the best music in all of Pokemon, and it has journal entries scattered around detailing a scientist's time finding Mew in the jungle, how they made Mewtwo, and how they failed to curb Mewtwo's vicious tendencies, direct quote, and they couldn't control it. That's a really good example of environmental storytelling, and one of the reasons I will freely admit that the Pokémon Mansion is my favorite place in all of Pokemon. Eventually, though, Red will find a secret key and need to leave the coolest place in the entire Pokemon world until he uses the key to get into Blaine's gym and challenge him to a battle. Okay, we're done here. There's only one gym left, the Viridian City Gym, and since the door is unlocked, Red goes in. He works his way through the puzzle until eventually getting to the gym leader, who turns out to be Giovanni! Dun dun dun! Shock! Horror! Giovanni, the evil team leader Red has been battling this whole game, is the final gym leader? They have an epic battle, but at the end, Red decimates his team, and Giovanni says that he can't face his followers like that, so he disbands Team Rocket and devotes his life once again to training Pokemon and trying to be a good person. Red goes to the Pokemon League, dominates Blue yet again, and spends eons in the Victory Road, because the Kanto Victory Road is extremely confusing on the first try. He does eventually make it to the Elite Four, however, there is nothing to say about Ice Trainer Lorelei, Fighting Trainer Bruno, or Ghost Trainer Agatha. Last is Dragon Trainer Lance, and he might be a bit difficult. Lance's Pokemon, at least the ones that are actually Dragon-type, resist all of the starter types, making them very hard to deal with for someone who's never seen the type before. However, Red will beat Lance, and when he does so, he will be told that he is the new Pokémon Champion! Or at least he would be, but there's one trainer left to beat. One trainer who managed to beat the league and become the champion about 5 minutes before him. That trainer's name is Blue! Red is shocked, astounded, that Blue, the rival who's been tormenting him this whole journey, is now the champion right before him? What? Hey, I see you finally made it! I was hoping you would. Silent as usual, I see. Well, makes sense I'd make it here, huh? I've always been one step ahead of you, from the very beginning. While I was working on my Pokédex, I searched everywhere for the perfect Pokémon. I specifically looked for teams that could beat any Pokémon type. And now, I stand right here at the top of the Pokémon League. Do you know what that means? I'll tell you! It means I am the most powerful trainer in the world! Go Pidgeot! I should probably describe the battle, but I'm not going to, because that would take too long. Battles are a lot of work to describe, and even more work to draw. So now, after an intense battle that ends with both of them on their final Pokémon, Red finally defeats Blue, and becomes the new champion. Blue throws a short temper tantrum, but then Professor Oak shows up. He says that he's disappointed in Blue, and reminds him that he failed because he forgot to treat his Pokémon with love and trust. Red's Pokémon get loaded into the Hall of Fame, and his journey is completed. However, Red still wants to complete the Pokédex, and there's one Pokémon left he needs in order to do that. Number 150, Mewtwo. Red goes to Cerulean Cave, and while it should be an epic battle that would take me ages to draw, Red is smart. So instead, he decides, oh come on! My team is entirely in the 60s, and this thing is a level 70 legendary. No way am I battling this. So he throws a Master Ball and catches Mewtwo, the strongest and rarest Pokemon that he knows about. So, that's that. I have a few minutes of what I think of this game's story that I want to go over, and just seeing my character move would be pretty boring, so I'm going to show the game's credits while I talk. Okay, so this story is not half as good as people say it is. People say that Kanto is the pinnacle of Pokemon storytelling. Team Rocket is the perfect evil team, yada yada yada. That's a load of hooey. This game's story is weak as all Hades. It tries to be non-linear, and while that makes gameplay a lot of fun, it makes the story straight up trash. Rather than having one cohesive narrative, the story of the Kanto games is divided into a bunch of different chunks that you can do in pretty much any order without it affecting anything else that happens in the game. That means that the story is not remotely good most of the time. The best storytelling we have is passive storytelling, not from actual interactions, but from the journal entries in the Pokémon Mansion. Now, I can rave about the Pokémon Mansion for ages, but for the sake of this video not being an hour long, I will not. I literally just wrote a script about it, and I can barely think of any event between Lieutenant Surge and Gym Leader Giovanni. But I've been very negative so far, so let's try and go over the little bit of good. As I've said numerous times before, I love the Pokémon Mansion. The music is incredible, though that's not what I'm critiquing. The environmental storytelling is great, you get the picture. I do actually like the two big reveals of this game. That Giovanni is the final gym leader, and that the rival beat the Pokémon League before you did. Those were actually handled pretty well in my opinion. Also, I did a playthrough for this replay where I talked to a bunch of people, and doing that did make it a bit more enjoyable, but the fact that I needed to talk to people in order to get the full experience detracts from the experience, because I don't usually talk to people in games unless I think they can give me quests or items or something. Now, onto the numerous bad parts of this game. First of all, as previously mentioned, the game's non-linearity is good for gameplay, but seriously weakens the story. I've already gone into why. Secondly, as previously stated, one of Kanto's biggest flaws in my opinion is that in order to get the full experience, and even to know what's going on half the time, you need to go out of your way to talk to people. There is no reason you should need to talk to random NPCs in Lavender Town to know who Mr. Fuji, a relatively important character for that episode, even is, or why it is at all important that a single Cubone lost his mother, and yet that is the driving force behind the entire Lavender Town mini-plot. If you did not look in every single house in Lavender Town, you would have no idea who Mr. Fuji or the Ghost Marowak even are. Okay, so I'm gonna slow my roll here a bit, calm down, and roll this video's credits, since the game's credits are probably over at this point. The third thing that this game's plot, if you can even call it that, messes up is the near absence of Team Rocket, the only antagonists in this entire game. You meet them in Mount Moon, where they have an almost non-existent presence. The only thing they do in Cerulean City is mess up one house and steal a single TM. An action so important, I didn't even bother to mention it in this video. They don't exist at all from that point until you find their hideout in Celadon City, most likely after you beat the gym there, because why would you bother to go into the game corner of all places, and once you've found the hideout, you battle through it, have a nearly inconsequential battle with Giovanni, who, keep in mind, is the primary antagonist of this entire game, and get the Sylph Scope. After getting it, you can reverse the Pokemon Tower, but you would have no idea why you should unless you've spoken to other NPCs and found out that Team Rocket killed a Marowak. Show don't tell, Storytelling 101. After this, I will not talk very much about Team Rocket's presence, primarily because for the second half of the game, they are barely in it. Can you tell I don't like this game's story that much yet? I've rambled on for long enough, so I will not bore you with the rest of my rant about the story of the Kanto games. Peace out.